I'm working with a writer here whose material I read about 8 or 10 months ago. A lot of material. And I was living in LA, and I was looking for a specific type of writing. I had co-written a screenplay with a writer who was very talented, but when it came down to actually pushing and selling the script itself, I mean, some things happened. And all I can tell you about that is I strongly recommend any producer, if you're going to work with a writer, to work with someone that you really like and get along with. And the less surprises, the better, because when it comes time to push a screenplay, literally when you're talking to finance people and stuff like that, lawyers, studios, you want to feel comfortable that the person who's working pushing is reliable, and that's hard with writers. And so the writer that I'm working with here, Tim,
Tim Johnston,
Short Story America, right? Exactly. Is all of those things, you know. He's a credible person, he's a father, and we share a lot of things in common aside from the things that we're interested in thematically in terms of writing and film. So that was something that I liked right off the bat when I met him, and he lives here, he's a local.
Okay, just tell us about the adaptation you're working on now.
We're working on Friday Afternoon, which is the second story in his book, in volume 1 of Short Story America. It's about a sort of morally bankrupt executive who is not really aware of the damage he's causing around him. He ends up passing the wrong guy on a road in the middle of nowhere, and it's very similar, I think, in some ways to Rod Serling's sort of material, which I've never understood why that hasn't been sort of contemporized. But I think part of it is because it's hard to find people with that kind of talent, and I do think Tim has that kind of talent.
The festival is part of the decision to come to Beaufort at this time.
Absolutely. The film that I made was picked up, was an official selection at Toronto. It was a grand jury prize nominee at Sundance. Other film festivals too, Birmingham, South by Southwest. So I'm familiar with film festivals, I'm very comfortable there. But I had never been to this one.
It's a little bit different.
It is very different. I love it. You know, you can run into a director of a piece. Not only can you talk to him afterwards, you know, on the stage or where it was exhibited, but you can bump into him, you know, having a beer or a cup of coffee in town, and really get a chance to meet the people who are responsible for it. The director of the festival is great, and so it's very personal.
You have an idea about how to use this source material. You're basically looking at short films with
for the first time, really. I mean,
small
I'm
budgets.
really dealing with features, well, first of all, I think what's great about shorts and what I like going to festivals is because you really see a purer vision in these projects from the artists themselves. When a film doesn't require an enormous amount of money, you don't have to get an enormous amount of money back. You're not dealing with a bank, which studios are to a large extent, and I don't knock studios, but they're trying to market a film that maybe is for adults for, you know, 16 to 46, when there's no business for 16-year-olds to be marketed to in a particular vision. So shorts, I think, have a place where they are having a tough time having a place is financially competing with features. I think that's going to change.
How so?
Independent films have already shown how they can change. Shorts, I think, have that sort of stigma where most short films are beautifully shot, or the sound is great, and people make them to move forward in their career. I mean, I've already made a feature film. I'm looking at shorts again because I see great short films either making their way episodically online. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to see a great short film that was 30 or 40 minutes long, for example, and pay $1 online to see it and then get on with their day. Not everyone has 2 hours. So I think that the film festivals work in that sense, because if you do a great short and it may be sort of a pilot for more projects that are like-minded.
Touchy subject, shooting in South Carolina, taking you know, locally sourced material. You're talking about low-budget stuff, which doesn't really mean have much of an impact on what would be an incentive package in this state.
Right.
Is there a possibility some of this stuff may be shot locally, regionally?
Absolutely. You know, that's a good question. When you bring professional filmmakers into a project, if your budget is $200,000 or $300,000, but what you're really trying to do is make 5 of them, that means your budget is going to be closer to $1 million or $1.5 million. So I think it's going to depend on a lot of small details. It's a good question. I was thinking about it yesterday, listening to the commissioner of South Carolina. the film commissioner, I think.
Tom Clark, yeah,
right.
one of the film guys.
One of the film guys that's around. You know, it's going to be something that needs to be addressed because typically, from my understanding, the bigger your budget is, the more help you may or may not get. If you're talking about $300,000, what kind of help will you? But if you bring clout to the table, if you're working with Oscar-winning or highly nominated people, that brings a little bit to South Carolina as well. So we'll see.